As you can see, we got like this style, like 5 lines. Okay, tagging, tracing, counting, monitoring, securing, locating, exploiting RFID's multifunctional capabilities across multiple business verticals. This is quite a loaded title, and if I talk about this, I'm going to be here till midnight. So what I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to talk about RFID in general. I'm going to explain what RFID is, and then I'm going to walk you through some of the interesting applications, and this will cater to most of these items right here, and I hope this will give everybody a good idea of what RFID is and what it can do for you. So the star of the show is this. RFID, radio frequency identification. What are we going to be talking about today? Like I said, I'm going to be answering 3 questions. What is RFID? What does RFID work? How does it work? I'm sorry. What are some of the relevant applications of RFID? What this presentation is not going to be about, no technical jargon. I am not a technical guy, you can probably tell. I'm a management person. Sometimes I like to dress like Johnny Cash. All right? So, no technical jargon. This is not a technical presentation. No boring details. This is intended to be a general introduction to the vast world of RFID, and it is vast. Well, what if you like jargon and complicated words? If you do, please read my white paper. It's going to be, I think, on the Terrapin website, I believe. You can also go to my own website, which is the managementtimes.com. This is my personal blog, actually. I write about management and different philosophies because I'm a writer and I have a vast interest in that. So that's what I usually run things. And I'm going to be uploading that there as well. So, what's the hype about? Why is RFID somehow like all of a sudden so popular? The reason for that is because RFID proved itself, although it's a new technology, it proved itself to be completely vital in a lot of areas, and it proved to be completely practical in a lot of different arenas. So it has a lot of applications, and it's so flexible, it can be applied almost anywhere. And this is like the best kind you can have in any industry. When you have a solution that can be multiplied and applied across multiple verticals, this is the best thing you can have. RFID is everywhere. This is a recent map that shows you where RFID is applied worldwide. This is obviously not very accurate, but it gives you an idea of the vast scope of RFID and where it's implemented. And if you notice, Saudi Arabia got 2 dots on it. One of them I'm responsible for is the one in Dhahran. Okay, so that's a project, the RFID project. By the way, I forgot to mention that I work for the Saudi Arabian oil company, which is the biggest oil company on earth, and it takes a lot of initiatives and a lot of different technologies, and RFID was a recent one that they endeavored into. What is RFID? Now, RFID is a technology that refers to any system in which equipment utilizes radio signals as the means to transmit identification numbers or any other such information for the sole purpose of identifying the item at hand. Quite simply, RFID is a technology that gives a package, a packet, a box, or anything else, an added layer of intelligence that allows it to say, my number is so-and-so. A reader will read that number and somehow communicate that to another server or another side of the industry or another side of the company, you name it. It could be across the world, and some processing will happen, and then you can track those numbers, you can do some processing with them, you can do anything you want with them. This is a nutshell what RFID is. You can see here it has an RFID tag, this is what it looks like, and it has a reader right here, and they communicate using the radio frequencies. Naturally, when the reader communicates with the server, like I mentioned right here, and many people can actually tap in and read some of that data and some of that information, and they can track it. You can see a truck right here because it could mean shipping information. You can see an operator. You can see like a surveillance kind of thing. You can see like factory workers. The RFID tag, this is how RFID looks like, by the way. This is like a very simple RFID tag, okay? And it's some of them have a memory in them, but as a minimum, the RFID tag contains the logic circuits. This is the part here in the middle, and it contains an antenna. The antenna is this huge part that goes around. This is an antenna. It goes like in loops. And RFID tags come in different shapes. You can see like they're very small. You can see one compared to a penny next to it right here, okay? And you can see the big ones that are stuck to the card shields as well, the windshields. You can see like strange looks that looks like a butterfly on the other side. You know, so they come in different formats. They come in different sizes, and they can be applied almost anywhere. to credit cards, to boxes, to medicines, to tags, to passports, to clothes, to anything you can think of. Anything that can hold a service, it can be applied to. The RFID tags can be actually classified into two categories. The first one is the passive tag. And this is the tag that uses the radio energy to generate some power within to allow it to communicate. It doesn't have a battery inside of it. So this is what they call a passive tag. They can be extremely, extremely small. You can see one here on the tip of a finger and another one compared to a rice grain. That's how really small it is. And they can be very cheap as well. They can cost a few cents, like 5 to 6 cents a piece. They are very, very cheap. And you have also the active tags. The active tags are slightly larger in size, and they have a battery. They have a source of power. It doesn't have to be a battery anyhow. But they have an onboard power source that allows it to work and communicate. They can transmit stronger signals over longer distances. And they are, like I said, they are larger in size. They look about as big as a deck of playing cards. If you look at it, it's that big. It's very, very relatively sizable. And as I said, they contain some larger memory, and they can do a lot of complicated logic inside of them as well, because they have an onboard power source. So how does it work? Simply, as I said, the tags can be applied to almost anything. If you can start from the left, it can be applied to boxes and pallets and you name it. And then you have the readers. The readers can be handheld. They can be like in gates, like through which a truck would pass. They can be applied to anything. And then the reader will read those tags, communicate the numbers to a local server that will contain a database containing those numbers. It will then tag, for example, if a box has the number 1, for example, it will read number 1. I would say number 1 passed through gate so and so. Number 1 has arrived at destination so and so. So it can keep track of that thing. Now, as I said, it reads raw data, but what you do with that data is up to you. You can take those data and say, okay, we're going to see how we can run the shipments faster. You can process them anyhow. Now we're going to go into the RFID applications. There are so many applications out there, but I picked a few. And I think because we started a little bit late, and I'm going to go through them relatively quickly here. The first one is the supply chain management. This is actually the holy grail when it comes to RFID applications. This is where you can see the benefits of RFID, because it gives you the ability to have total control over your chain. You can tell where each and every single item is in the supply chain. You can tell when it left point A, when did it reach point B. You can tell the sizes. You can tell all other information that come with it. So we're going to be watching a video right now. I think this is the best way to understand this, because I can explain this forever right now, but I think this video is much more informative.
The time factor plays a key role in the process of getting a product from its manufacturer to its...
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I think it's going to reload.
The time factor plays a key role in the process of getting a product from its manufacturer to its point of sale, because time is money. RFID, radio frequency identification, is a new technology that significantly increases the efficiency of this process chain. With RFID, data are transferred without physical contact. In addition, RFID helps positively identify shipping units. In an instant, valuable information is recorded and utilized on an international scale. This example demonstrates how it functions in practice. The process chain begins with production and continues by way of a central warehouse onto the retailer. In the manufacturer's warehouse, goods are prepared for distribution to retailers. Without RFID, order picking of mixed pallets for delivery to department stores or supermarkets can be extremely time-consuming. Why? Because it requires a whole series of individual steps, most of them manual. In future, processes that now have to be carried out by hand will function automatically based on RFID. The key is the RFID transponder, which can be affixed to boxes and pallets as early as the production stage. Communication between transponders and RFID readers is fully automatic. They practically do the work by themselves. Readers installed at various points in the sorting and order picking process register the electronic product codes stored on the transponders the moment they come into range. These data are immediately transferred to the central logistics and merchandise management system. Within seconds, the goods delivered are compared in detail with the goods ordered. Even transport and sorting in the warehouse can be automated in future. RFID tags indicate where each product belongs. This enables the hanger goods sorter, for example, to transport the merchandise to its intended destination. The faster the goods leave the warehouse, the more efficient the process. Processing incoming goods by today's methods is also quite labor-intensive. And so is warehouse management, sorting and positioning the goods, because a large proportion of the processes must be carried out manually. Here too, in the incoming goods area, RFID is set to considerably accelerate processes in future. The fully automated reader registers the relevant information as goods enter the gate. The data are transferred directly to the merchandise management system. A single reader is capable of registering up to 40 RFID transponders in 1 second. This can mean time savings of 10 minutes for each truck, a major plus in cost effectiveness, because the merchandise reaches its destination much faster, and both manpower and means of transport are utilized more efficiently. In the warehouse, forklifts and high shelves will be equipped with RFID technology, which will automatically indicate to the operator the storage position of each product. When the employee sorts the goods into the correct place, confirmation is given via touchscreen monitor. If he or she selects the wrong place for the product, an error is indicated. This way, RFID helps ensure that the goods are always in the right places, and taking inventory is as simple as pushing a button. RFID allows trade and industry companies to track goods, the path they take, and their location at any given time throughout the supply chain, from anywhere in the world. Handling incoming goods in stores is currently just as labor-intensive as the incoming goods processing we saw in the distribution center. The final leg of the journey from manufacturer to retail shelf is the path between the warehouse of the store and the sales area itself. Readily accessible, up-to-date, and relevant information is essential to ensuring that a product is available at the right time and in the right place. The store's warehouse management plays a key role. In future, RFID will simplify storage of products in the retailer's warehouse, because at all times, staff will be able to precisely and quickly locate pallets and cartons. The moment the goods are removed from the warehouse, RFID readers re-register the data stored on the transponders. The merchandise management system books this movement of goods as well, and the information in the system is kept up to date. Precise and current data, anytime and anywhere, help products make their way from the manufacturer to the point of sale quickly and easily. At the same time, they provide the perfect basis for keeping goods on the shelves at all times. RFID for more efficiency all the way from producer to customer.
So, this is what RFID is. I wanted to explain what it can do for the supply chain and for warehousing and that. But honestly, I could not find the right words to do it, and I realized that this video does a better job than I do. So I decided to show it here. But as you can see, many companies are making a mistake of hearing what RFID is and they jump into it. They don't realize that it gives you a flood of complex data, a lot of data. So you have to have a plan to know what you need to do with that data, obviously. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is, when you stick tags to boxes that move on a conveyor belt, you're not going to do much if you read those numbers. But if you use those numbers to determine areas of inefficiencies, to making like recovery plans, to speed up the process, to provide better services to your customers, that's where RFID can help you, because it can give you immediate data that you need. You can just press one button and see where all the cards are, not the cards, the boxes, where all the boxes are, the boxes are tagged, obviously. So it gives you incredible benefit and improvement, but also it can really paralyze you if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have a plan to deal with that data. The next interesting application is animal identification. I have a pet dog, and my pet dog has an RFID chip on the back of his neck, implanted underneath the skin. So using that tag, I can find out where this dog is. If he gets lost and picked up by some neighbors, they can really take him to a shelter and they scan him with a little thing that looks like a supermarket thing. They scan him and realize his name, my phone number, and they contact me. And that happened twice. So that's where RFID can help when it comes to animal identification. Because in the past, what they used to do is they used to brand the animal. They actually bring a hot iron and they brand the animal with the logo of the farm, you know. But as time progressed, basically, people became more humane and decided not to do that anymore. They said, we're going to put some tags on the ear, like you see in the photo right here, like an ear tag. But this is not very good because it can be stolen, it can be replaced, it can get damaged, it can get wiped out sometimes, you know. So RFID is a very cheap alternative, and it's very durable. So that's what it can help as well. This is how it looks like, this little chip. This is an implant on the back of a cat right here. You can see like in the back of the neck. This chip is as big as a rice grain. This is the one that you saw in the photo previously. This is the same one that I have on my dog as well. This is what a reader looks like that they use in the pet shops. The next one is anti-theft systems. This is the one that we're all familiar with. This is when you go to a store and you see those little gates, antennas when you pass through them. And if you don't pay for the items, they usually sound the alarm. This is also RFID. It's using the same technology because there is an RFID tag implanted inside the clothing. Some manufacturers actually put them inside the fabric themselves. They sew them somehow, they hide them somewhere. But some don't do that. They actually put the price tag that's attached to your jacket, for example. You notice that on the back of the price tag there's an inlay. There's an RFID inlay in there. And it has an RFID tag imprinted on it. So it comes in different ways here, but that's also one of the interesting applications because it got to be very expensive to hire guards all the time. It got to be very expensive to put cameras all the time. Might as well make the technology do the job for you. This is how it looks like. You can see the price tag here on this pair of jeans right here, and this is how it looks like, by the way. You can see it's actually imprinted inside two thin pieces of paper. This is actually based on carbon, this carbon printing. They print it on between two sheets like this, and they put them inside the jeans themselves. So, obviously, when you go there, the cashiers will take the pair of jeans, they will take your money, basically, and they will run this chip on some strong magnetic field to disable it. That is if the chip is inside the clothing, meaning it cannot be removed. If it can't be removed, they will just remove the tag, and they just swipe it there and reuse it somewhere else. And they'll give you a piece of clothing as well. This is how it looks like. Obviously, we all seen that. The other interesting thing is in baggage handling. This is going to be very helpful when it comes to airports because this is, by the way, in Australia, in Sydney Airport. You go there, you see this is what it looks like. You put your luggage there, you press a few numbers, okay, and it gives you a receipt kind of thing, okay, that gives you your name, your destination, and that stuff. But it gives you a tag that looks like this. You attach it to your piece of luggage, and then it go by itself. It's all computerized, it's all systemized, it will know where it goes. So when you reach your destination and for some reason you don't find your luggage, what you need to do is just to scan this, and it will tell you exactly where that luggage is, where that piece of suitcase is. It will tell you it's in plane A over country B, okay, and it's on this destination. It got lost. It's in this storehouse, in this warehouse or the next. It can give you exact details. So this is very helpful. Because can you imagine the difficulty that airline operators sometimes go through to find your luggage? If they lose it, they have to go and check every piece of paper. They have to go and send people to warehouses and look for them. But in this case, they don't have to. They can just scan it, know where it is, because in the baggage section of the airport, there are readers situated everywhere. So with one press of button, they can identify it immediately, even if it's underneath 10 or 15 other suitcases. They can tell immediately where it is. This is another interesting thing, which is drug pedigree. The supply chains when it comes to pharmaceutical industry is like this. It's not very straightforward sometimes. What they do is that medicine reaches, or basically drugs, they reach the retailers through multiple channels. They go sometimes from big manufacturers, sometimes they go from large chain pharmaceutical companies. There are multiple entries into this channel, right? And this channel goes, and then you have the distributors who distribute the drugs to the local pharmacists, and then you have other government-sponsored programs like Medicare, okay? And you have the ones that are designated for charities to be spread around the world. So you have a lot of exits as well from this supply chain. A lot of entries, a lot of exits as well. This makes it very difficult to control because drugs that are intended for charities can make their way back and enter again at higher prices. Drugs that are intended for government programs like Medicare, for example, are probably sold at obviously a discount to the users, but some people can actually pick them up and sell them again at full price. You see the problem here because things can be resold again and again, and this goes in as well. And by the way, you also have the fake drugs as well. Okay, the counterfeit drugs, the ones that are made they have a label that looks like a genuine one, and they just put them there, and they get paid for them full price as well. So controlling that is a big problem, and it's a multi-billion-dollar question when it comes to the pharmaceutical industry. RFID can solve this problem because what it does is this. I'm not gonna bore you with these details right here, but the essence is basically that the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration in the United States, basically what they did, they endorsed the RFID as a solution. What happens is that at the manufacturer, when the drug is made, they slap a stick on it, okay, and then they put an RFID tag on the back. It tells the reader the number of this bottle, the brand, the manufacturer, the name, all that stuff. And then when you read it anywhere else in the supply chain, you can tell how many storehouses this bottle went through, how many times it has been shipped, from which country to which country. You can tell all that detail, and it can tell you exactly where it came from. Obviously, this tag is not so easily made. It has a lot of protection embedded into it, so it's hard to counterfeit as well. I highly encourage you to read more about this because it's much more complicated, and given it and explaining this here will take a long time. But the last thing I want to say here is that every tag number is globally unique. And the agency that gives those tag numbers is called EPC Global, which is actually cooperating with the FDA to provide numbers. You can get infinite numbers, by the way. You're not going to run out of numbers anytime soon. So you can actually tag each and every single little pill that you see. That's how powerful it is. The next thing is automatic access. That's card, basically. These are referred to as proximity cards because they have a tag inside. Naturally, a lot of cards, they use the magnetic strip on the back. But if you replace that with RFID, you get the following advantages because fake cards, repeated use, and scratches can significantly affect the integrity of the data on the card itself. That is, if it uses magnetic strips. The magnetic strip can also wear out with time. But RFID doesn't do that. RFID is a little small chip embedded inside. It can communicate your information to the reader, and you can gain access to the building or the facility or to a piece of equipment. Electronic payment. This is a fascinating topic actually when it comes to electronic payment, and this is a lot of research on this. And this is the area where RFID is actually misunderstood the most because a lot of people don't understand how RFID works, so they think it's they tend to think it's not very mature yet, but it's way beyond that. Electronic payment comes in two forms. There's mass transit and there are credit cards. Mass transit being the most obvious one that we all have seen, that you have like metro and bus and highway toll cards, like the Octopus card in Hong Kong, if you've been to Hong Kong, if you know what it is. You have the Suica cards in Japan. You have the Easy Pass in New York City. That's basically for paying tolls. The first one, the first photo on the left here, this is the Octopus card. This is so small, it looks like a key, well, it is a keychain in fact. What you use it for is to pay tolls, to use the metro system over there. So when you go at the turnstile, you don't have to swipe anything. You don't have to input a ticket or anything like that. You just pass this on top of a reader, and then the turnstile will open for you. And then it will deduct the same amount, the amount needed from your account. Obviously, you keep recharging this card at designated facilities. You go there, you swipe your card, you make a payment for 20 bucks, for example. It adds that 20 bucks into your account. So you can use those 20 bucks as many times as you need until it's depleted. Once it's depleted, you have to recharge it again, obviously. Suica card in the middle, this is my favorite because I go to Japan a lot, and I have one that I bought 5 years ago and I keep using it. The beauty of the Suica card and also the Octopus card is that you can use them in convenience store as well. You can go to supermarket or convenience stores and buy whatever you need and just scan the card over there, and it will, because they have a reader that is linked to the company producing these cards, be it Suica or Octopus, and they will deduct the amount from that 20 bucks, for example, and it goes smoothly. It's a true replacement for cash. The Easy Pass is the one on the right here. This is actually, you can look at it, it's slightly bulkier. It's much more than a card because it has a power source inside of it because it's an active tag. Naturally, it's fixed to a windshield of a car.
Ladies and gentlemen, the conferences are about to start. Cards and payments, mobile money, and prepaid. Please can you make your way to the conference room? Thank you.
All right, so you can tell it's fixed to a windshield of a car here. Basically, when the car is driving on the highway and it crosses between two states, and it got to pass by a toll payment gate somehow. And then when it goes there, a reader on top will read the card and will deduct the amount from the card itself. These are how the readers look like. You can, on the right, you can see the Suica reader. This is available at a 7-Eleven, which is a convenience store, by the way. This is very popular in Japan. And on the left, you see the Octopus card and with its reader as well. Now, credit cards. Credit cards are very interesting. Actually, the one at the bottom here, the American Express, is exactly like mine because I have my card like this and it has an RFID tag inside of it. You probably can see it from here. Well, you can see it clearly actually right there. That's the tag right there. And the antenna are actually the big shape around it right there that goes in loops. So basically, the biggest issue with credit cards are the following. I'm not going to go through this. The thing about credit cards is this. It has an RFID tag inside of it, and once you go to a reader or a payment terminal, you scan your card, obviously. You don't have to take your card out of your wallet. You can just place it close to the reader. And what makes the credit card interesting is that it has the ability to dynamically generate a number and communicate that number to the reader. So your information are never given out like a regular card. When you go pay at any store and you take your receipt, you can see your name and the expiration date and the credit card number. But in this case, you do not, because you only receive a unique number that is valid for 5 seconds or so. And that number will go over the network to the American Express servers and will recognize the number and will authorize the payment. So it's incredibly secure when it comes to that. The RFID tags within these cards, they have the ability to block interference, be it magnetic interference, electric interference, any kind of interference. And some of them can be designed so that the moment they are tampered with, they can self-destruct, meaning they can kill itself, so the card doesn't work anymore. And I think I'm very close to the time, right? So, two things I want to advise here. First, because this is a very, very general presentation, it doesn't delve into any one of these topics. It just gives you a taste of what RFID is. I would highly recommend that you spend some time learning about the electronic payment when it comes to credit card, because it is the future. It is incredibly fast, and it is incredibly secure. It's a lot more secure than the regular credit cards that you use, that we all have faith into.